The borders of Turkey, Iraq, Iran and Syria have been in the news for years. But how many of you actually know anything about that area? So why don't you join us on our tour of Southeast Turkey? Welcome to the busy and very lovely old town of Mardin. So Mardin is quite close to the Syrian border. This area is the northern part of the region we'd call Mesopotamia. So the lovely old town of Mardin is really one long street, and it's on the top of a hill overshadowed by a huge castle which incidentally you can't visit because it's military controlled. In the street you'll find shops, locantas, churches, mosques, museums, banks and hotels. It has a great minibus service and gets very busy from about 11 in the morning till about 11 at night, especially at weekends. There are so many Turkish tourists here in Mardin that you really need to book your hotel well in advance. We really struggled to get a room. In fact, we hardly saw any foreigners on our whole trip. As we found out, parking is a nightmare and you really don't need a car. I must admit the local characters made shopping an absolute treat, and the shops are full of specialities of the area, which of course includes soaps, coffee, wine and the biggest selection of dried nuts and sugared nuts that I've ever seen. So the first stop was the dried sugared nut and chocolate shop. Of course, this was Trudie's idea.
Bu ayva. Bu da şeftali. Şeftali.
Bir dakika buna bitmedi. Allah yiyorum onu ya.
Bu fındıklı tiramisu, fındık.
Fındık?
Kakao. Kakao.
Fındık and cocoa.
Can you save me one?
Meyve.
You do realise we're going to have to buy a load of these now, don't you?
Bu da fındık.
Benim en sevdiğim bu.
Dedim bu.
Bu da güzel. O ne?
Walnut. Ceviz?
Cevizli sucuk.
Ceviz. Control on the mouth.
Ceviz, walnut. Bu akşam hepsini yiyecek.
Hepsini yok hepsini
Yok
yemem.
olmaz değil mi?
Yatamazsın sonra. Karnın şişer.
Do you know that's all that whole bag? That's
Yok.
nearly half a kilo. It's only cost us 3
Yok
quid.
fazladır o. Çok yemezsin. Çikolata ağırdır.
Ağır değil mi?
Çikolata, badem hepsi ağır. Sonra yatamaz.
Ah, you won't sleep, he says.
That was my idea of chocolate shopping. To be fed chocolate while choosing and deciding, and then a huge bag, half a kilogram, what, about £3?
3 quid, yeah.
So the next morning I actually found a guy called Abdullah who was making his own sugared nuts.
Badem şekeri is what he was making, which is actually like sugared almonds. That's amazing. They're still hot. Wow. I'll have to go and buy a bag off him now.
There's such a lovely atmosphere in the evenings. There's lots of lovely rooftop locantas and restaurants, but none of them seem to serve any alcohol. You can find beer in some of the local tobacconists, but we didn't find anywhere serving beer
in the locantas or the hotels. And of course it's very busy at the weekends. Apart from the wine shops, everyone here drinks tea and coffee. And we actually met more people drinking tea and coffee outside shops than we would have done in a pub in England. There are some really interesting things going on in the street and some interesting shops too. And Trudie's favourite was the soap shop. I've never seen so many soap shops and so many unusual types of soap. Snail soap? Which part of the snail do they use, I wonder? Good luck with that then.
And you are.
So if it doesn't go a different colour.
This is good for
For weight loss. Oh, that would be good, wouldn't it?
Hair loss. Hair loss.
Oh, hair loss, alright. Sen çok kullanıyorsun zaten değil mi?
Ben kullanıyorum. Bir tek bunu kullanıyorum saç için. Saçıma bayağı iyi.
Değil mi? İyi.
Okay, I've bought my donkey milk. It's going to make me very youthful and beautiful. Isn't that right? Yes.
She stay always young.
Yeah, she is young anyway, she is.
Always young.
Tamam.
Donkey milk.
Evet, yeah. There's a lot of streets that go off from this main street, so the next morning I thought I'd better go and investigate. There were little old streets and houses everywhere, and you go past some of the doors and you don't know if it's a house or a storage unit. Walking around the back streets, you realise that some of the beautiful architecture is from a very long time ago. I come across old churches, mosques, a hammam, and even madrasa, that's old religious schools. The dustbin mule has to be one of my favourites. And some of the old ways still survive here. Later in the day we found this very interesting coffee man. This guy, he calls himself Muraca, which is somebody who deals with this sort of coffee. Ah, gerçek espresso.
Gerçek. Hanımefendi işimiz var anlıyor. Soğutuyorsunuz.
Let it cool, he says.
Ha, şöyle bir anahtarı.
Is it in the wall? It's shot a shake. Well, that was a bit of an interlude, wasn't it?
Siz memleket?
Tamam, İngiliz biz, İngiliz. Evet.
Hoş gelmişsiniz.
Hoş bulduk, ne güzel bak. So you swirl it round till it cools down a bit. Actually, it's not bad. I was going to pull a face and go, but it's actually quite nice. Wow. Really, yeah, lovely.
Nasıl buldunuz?
Çok güzel ya.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? Yeah.
It's not bad, is it?
It's very nice.
Nasıl? Devam et.
He's a bit of a tour guide, this guy, isn't he? Wow. He gave us more information than the internet or a tourist information centre, and we ended up talking to him for about half an hour. So if you get a chance to get in the back street and find Muracı, I'm sure you'll enjoy his company. On the way to Mardin Museum, we stumbled across this baker's that was making yufka ekmeği.
Amazing smell. I love his cushion.
Yufka bread is what we would probably call phyllo bread or unleavened bread. In some countries they call it lavash.
There's an absolutely amazing smell coming from this. Beautiful.
We were so mesmerised by this guy, Trudie decided she'd like to have a go.
They think you're funny. Come on, you got to be faster than that. He does it in a few seconds. No, you'll never make a baker.
And this is without intuition.
Put it on, he says. Put it on. Nasıl? You didn't quite get that bit right, did you? You got to be quick. Don't drop the... That's it, yeah. Fena değil, fena değil. Tamam.
So this is Sabancı Museum in Mardin. And it's mostly an information museum. It's got lots of pictures and information on the walls. There's not that many artifacts. If you want to go and see some real historical artifacts, you must go to the Mardin Museum. This is one of the most important things in this museum. This is over 4,000 years old, and it's when they started doing little figurines of the houses that they live in. The Turkish longbow has long time been regarded as the most powerful bow in the world. So one last drink in our little hotel in Mardin, and the next morning after breakfast we're off to Midyat and some interesting places on the way.
What's it called, this place?
I have no idea.
Hasan Cave, an ancient town on the Tigris River, has a rich history going back thousands of years. With thousands of cave dwellings and tombs, It's been a major tourist attraction for years. But since the completion of the Ulusu Dam, part of the Gap hydroelectric power project, its fate has been sealed, and this pretty historical little town, its culture and most of its priceless ruins will be submerged forever under 200 feet of water.
It's October now, but in a couple of months' time, the water level is going to be up there, where that concrete is. So this will be completely covered in water, it'll become a lake. And all these people will lose their livelihoods.
There has been a lot of controversy over this project in the last 10 years. The government have built a complete modern town with schools, mosques, hospitals and parks to house locals, but not everyone qualifies for them. Plus, the town is obviously unfinished. Apart from Hasan Cave, over 150 other villages will be submerged from this project, and in total this project will have to relocate around 70,000 people. I asked this guy, what are you going to do when it becomes a lake? He says, oh, we're leaving here. We're going to a town called Gerjush. So you'll lose your business? Yeah, we lose everything. Our whole family are going to go. I said, are you angry? He said, yeah, of course we're angry. We lose everything. Some of the historical treasures have been moved, like the Zeynel Bey tomb, which has been moved 2 kilometers from its original location to a park in the new town. But a lot of things will be submerged under the lake, including the stanchions of the 12th century ancient bridge.
Okay, so this is Çetin, who lives around this area in Hasan Cave, and his family used to live in a cave, one of the caves which are dug out, and they're all been moved now because this is all going to be flooded. They've all been moved up into the new town that they've built for them. What do you think to this new town?
So we moved into a single floor apartment, but the building standard is very poor, and it's mostly made from breeze blocks which are warm in the summer and cold in the winter, and the town isn't finished yet.
Not finished, but they say the people go to new town, we need to work to here.
So they're moving them up into these new houses before they're actually ready. And Çetin was saying these actually a lot of people are not staying here, they're just moving on to different places.
I asked another guy what he thought of the houses.
Seviyor musunuz o tarafı?
Ya iyi, evler güzel evler.
Öyle mi? Ha,
Tabii güzel evler. Oraya yerleşeceğiz.
Siz mutlu olacaksınız o zaman.
İnşallah mutluyum.
Ya güzel ya.
In a very positive attitude, he said the houses are okay. Anyway, life goes on, whether we live here or live over there. We're all going to die in the end anyway.
He's happy.
Yeah.
Since we filmed this a few years ago, the touristic town, many of the cave dwellings and the ancient bridge have now been submerged under the lake. The new town and Zeynel's tomb are now next to the lake, and some of the interesting higher ruins have survived and are still accessible to tourists.
The modern part of Midyat isn't so pleasing on the eye as the old part of the city, with its lovely styled old houses and eastern character. And the one in particular has become a major tourist attraction.
So this is the Midyat Konuk Evi, which is probably the most visited place in the whole of Midyat. And that is because they've done lots of soap operas here. And you can see why, can't you? What a lovely building. They certainly want to make you dance, don't they? You actually get a great view of the city from up here. And from here you can actually see one of the Christian churches over there. So, in fact, this side there's another Christian church as well. So, what exactly did you think that sign meant?
I don't know, but I'm being very naughty. I know that.
Come early if you want to be on your own.
Just outside the entrance on the way out, we met the nicest bunch of salespeople.
320.
They think you're 85 years old.
Thank you for that nice comment. Niye parfüm lazım? Ben kokuyor muyum?
Kokuyorsun da daha güzel kokmak için. Kokun
Daha güzel mi?
Daha güzelleştirir.
Yeah. Öbür dizi neydi?
Hercai.
Hercai. O ikinci şey. Ha, şimdi olan. Öbürü eskiydi değil mi? So this was the guy who was the chauffeur in the Hercai soap opera that's running at the moment. What's your name again?
Veysi.
Veysi.
Nice to meet you.
He's the first Zabita I've ever met who speaks pretty good English.
Thank you very much.
Apparently he worked in Bodrum, that's why.
Yes.
Well, we arrived last night in a hotel that we'd booked, and we'd booked it on the internet, and it was £34 a night, which we thought was quite reasonable. Basically it was a concrete box with a bed, a big fridge and a very smelly toilet. So we looked on the internet again, and for £60 a night or just over, we managed to get this place. For the extra money that you pay, what you get in style and facilities is really a lot better.
Midyat Old Town has one very busy pedestrian street where they sell telkari silver. It's very fine silver woven like lace. Along with cheap clothing and wine shops, it later turns into a fast food street with a great atmosphere and an amazing smell of meat cooking. Further up the street is a real old restaurant. But the most popular shop has to be Artuk Bey's Coffee and Dried Nuts.
Yapıyorsunuz ona süt koydunuz mu?
Su.
Su sadece. Süt
Suyla yapılır, sütlüymüş gibi tadı vardır. İçinde 7 çeşit kahve, 3 çeşit bitki var.
It's very nice. Why are you offering me another one? I'm drinking his. This is good.
Buyurun kahve için efendim.
I want the almonds. The almonds.
You have to pay for them.
Oh no, he's handing them out.
And I think it's the free samples that makes it so popular.
Oh, that's lovely. It's got a bit of sugar in as well, I think. Şeker koydunuz değil mi?
Az şeker var.
Ha. Ha şeker. Orta gibi. Güzel. Çok güzel. Hadi dene. You try it.
It's delicious. What's the chop out? Okay, there are 7 kinds of mixture in Dubek coffee. 3 kinds of plants. The coffee is made with water. Afiyet olsun.
Artuk Bey. Artuk
Tamam. Artuk Bey. Artuk Bey.
I've just set up to record, and a wedding party's turned up. I got the feeling they were just here for a photo shoot because they came and left in 20 minutes. Just a good walk from the old town or a short taxi ride is a lovely monastery with so many different names I really don't know what to call it.
Hello? Anybody in?
And the maps on the internet seem to be a bit confused as well.
Hello?
We were told to knock at the door, weren't we?
Outside this monastery is a pretty but quirky little garden. Or should I say frightening? Urfa, or Şanlıurfa as it's been known since 1984, is famous for its beautiful fish lake, Gül, and its mosques, one of them being built supposedly on the cave of the birthplace of the prophet Abraham. Because of this, in the Muslim community, it's become a place of pilgrimage and highly significant in religious terms. The story goes that the leader at the time when Abraham was born was killing all the male born. So his mother hid him in a cave, and this is supposedly the cave. Unfortunately, nowadays most of the cave is submerged underwater. It's actually a very beautiful park here, and a very peaceful park if you want to sit and just contemplate. And the backdrop to this lovely park is a castle that's over 1,000 years old. There are many religious stories connected to these pools, and the fish are regarded as sacred. I asked the guy who's got the net, who obviously keeps the pools clean, how many fish do you think are in here? He says, we can't count them. He said, there's over 10,000. No one told us that when the sun sets, all this beautiful area is lit up. It's absolutely amazing. And the other thing is, there must be 1 million birds have flown in from somewhere. It's like the film Birds, you know, with
Alfred Hitchcock.
Alfred Hitchcock, that's it.
But Şanlıurfa is much more than just Balıklıgül.
Connected to the park is a lovely old marketplace, and it's one of the most vibrant I've ever seen.
What's this called?
It's pishmania with chocolate on it. Well,
It wasn't the texture I was expecting.
I'm not sure how you describe it.
Well, you're not making a bad job of eating it, are
Very
you?
nice, I don't. Shall we buy some? Nereden geliyor ya? Kim yapıyor? What's really nice is that they call you into their shops, but they don't actually want to sell you anything, which is really unusual. They just want to get to know you.
What makes it unusual is there are workshops inside the market.
Kolay gelsin.
Something for the 10 pegs?
No, I don't think so, lovey. Do you? Kaç tane yapıyorsunuz bir gün içinde? 4000 tane. Wow. Çok İngiliz miyiz? İngiliz. Evet. Biz öğrendik ya. Fethiye'de oturuyoruz ondan. Kolay gelsin herkese.
Do you know, that's the first time I think I've wandered through a marketplace, Pazar, and not been harassed to buy one thing. Nothing. Not a thing.
And it's the same everywhere you go. They just love giving things away.
So you're sticking to the floor because when all the sugar drips off this all day long, it forms a big sticky patch of toffee on the floor. And that's why we're sticking to it. Oh, it's nice though.
It's just a lovely atmosphere and lovely friendly people. In recent years, it's become one of the most important places in the world for its archaeological significance. Urfa, discovered in 1993 near the town centre, is believed to be 11 to 12,000 years old. This stone statue, which stands 1.8 metres tall, could be the oldest statue ever found.
This has to be one of the best museums in the world, and it's incredibly well laid out.
The museum describes the progression of early man through the ages, from the first simple stone vessels of the Neolithic period, before humans made clay pots, through and up until present day. They have some of the earliest man-made artifacts ever found here.
These headsets are 20 lira, but they're worth it if you really want to know about the artifacts that you're looking at.
Don't miss the Mosaic Museum next door. It's included in your ticket price.
But it's nice to have a cup of tea in between. Isn't it lovely? Do you know, we were only going to just whip in here and rush round and go back out again. But looking at some of the mosaics here, they are absolutely incredible, and they're huge and very, very fine stones they're made from as well. So these were the first religious monuments, and when you look at the size of them, you can sort of relate them to Stonehenge, but they are thousands of years before Stonehenge. Some of these huge stone tablets are a reconstruction, and if you want to see the originals, you must go to Göbekli Tepe. So here we are at Göbekli Tepe, and this site, which is actually in the middle of nowhere, is an amazing site of historical interest.
Göbekli Tepe, meaning belly hill in Turkish, has put Şanlıurfa well and truly on the world archaeological map.
Funny looking character on the side of one of the stones as well, which is fantastically carved.
These huge megaliths have been carbon dated to between 11 and 12,000 years old, and they are probably the oldest ritual site ever found, predating Stonehenge by 7,000 years. Evidence shows this was a place of pilgrimage, and as a result, possibly the start of human cultivation and farming. Gaziantep, or Antep as it is still known even though it changed its name almost 100 years ago, is a modern cosmopolitan city, and because of its strategic position on the Silk Road, it's been a major trading centre since ancient times and is now one of Turkey's most important manufacturing areas. It's renowned for the huge production of machine carpets, shoes, soap, and the agricultural harvesting of 60,000 metric tons every year of Antep fıstığı, or what we call pistachio nuts. It's also a huge cotton and olive producing area. Because of the trade here, there are dozens of high-class hotels and several large shopping centres with many well-known high street shops. And in recent years, the old town and the castle area have been a big attraction for tourists. Gaziantep Castle dates back to the Hittites and then was taken over by the Romans, been renovated many times over the centuries. Since this was filmed, the castle was actually badly damaged in the earthquake of 2022 and is now under restoration work again. This area of the old town has a lovely atmosphere with character shops and locantas serving many traditional dishes of the area. There's also a few small but interesting museums. And we came across this one, the Glass Museum. Apart from its interesting collection of ancient glassware and other artifacts, it also had a very quirky courtyard. And nearby we found a comical guy selling tea in the street. And when we got over to the park, we found a guy selling coffee.
Bu makine ne diyorsunuz?
Bu meleğin şahısı, cezve.
Tamam, yeter. Yeter, o kadar içmem ben. He says this is made with fındıklı mı bu?
Fıstık.
Fıstıklı. It's fıstık and coffee together and some sugar. So it's quite unusual, I think.
Right?
Yeah, it don't taste like coffee though. Teşekkürler. İsminiz neydi?
Mehmet.
Mehmet.
Mehmet Yılmaz.
Ben Mick amca.
Evet, memnun oldum.
Ben de. Not your favourite?
And not far from the park we found a great place for lunch.
So this is Chuta la Mardin.
That was well read off the
Yeah, but it's delicious. Really is lovely. Washed down with a bit of ayran. What more could you want for lunch? Lovely.
Got a bit of heat to it, does it?
Lovely.
It's more like a kıymalı pide, but very nice.
And this little place was packed, and they were making them like it was on a production line. There's a very special museum a few miles out of the centre, but we weren't sure how to get there.
There's lots of buses and they're very confusing where they're going. So we've decided to press the button and get a taxi, and somebody's told us it'll work out the same price anyway. Red lights on.
In fact, it was a 15-minute ride, and it only cost us £2.
This museum is full of the mosaics and ruins of the ancient city of Zeugma.
The reason they took all of this out is because the whole area was flooded because of a new dam, a hydroelectric power dam. The area now, which is near Halveti, is actually become a tourist destination because you can still see some of the ruins underneath the water. So this is one of the most famous mosaics which has been dug out, and it's interesting to see how they dig these things out, because this is normally on the floor, of course. This is actually a floor panel, you know, people walked on this, and the way they've got them up is actually incredible. They put big drills all the way down, about that thickness, below the surface of the picture, and they drilled great big long drills all the way through, all the way up, and then they put steel pieces in and they drive them in, and eventually it cracks away, and they fix a big plate on the front to stop it from moving, and then lift it up with a crane. It's amazing, really amazing, and it takes days to do one. One thing I do like about this museum is you can actually touch the mosaics. The stones are beautifully smooth with all the years of being walked on.
What you can see behind me is the remains from a dining room floor from the house of Midyat. The rest of the mosaic was actually stolen, but one of the small pieces above is called the Gypsy mosaic, and she has been placed in a room all to herself behind this wall, which is quite impressive.
When I look at the room and the mosaic as one big piece, I actually get quite emotional. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and they're not just people who can do mosaics, these were really talented artists.
After seeing all these beautiful artifacts and mosaics, it inspired us to visit the original site and see where they'd all come from.
Can I tell you something?
Is that not our car?
No, that's not our car. Our car's behind the bus up there, look.
To the original archaeological site of Zeugma. It's about an hour's drive from Gaziantep. And when we got there, we were directed to this large building.
So look at this, it's amazing, isn't it? I really didn't expect this. And after being to the museum, you feel that, oh, everything's been taken away, but it's not. because there's a lot of the mosaics and rooms that, like these, which have actually survived. Yeah, it's well worth a visit.
Many other towns and ruins went under the lake when it was formed, but the most famous is Halveti, known for its rare wildlife, its perfumes and its famous karagül or black roses, which also became the name of a soap opera on Turkish TV years ago. Because of its popularity, Halveti has recovered from its drowning and has become a major tourist destination.
So here we are on our boat trip from Halveti down the lake, which has been formed by the dam obviously years ago, and we're really lucky because the weather is beautiful weather, and it's 15th of October now and we're still in, well, I'm still in shorts and t-shirt and it's lovely.
This is by far the most popular boat trip going out of Halveti, and it goes to Savaşanköy, which was also partly submerged when the lake was formed. En route, it goes past an ancient ruin called Rumkale. Apparently the ruins of Rumkale are also accessible by road. The part of Halveti that survived the reservoir flooding is actually an interesting place on its own, with a few restaurants and cafes and a few places to stay. And it's a great place to meet other travellers and chat with the locals.
Maraş ne kadar?
2.
Bir Maraş alayım o zaman.
Ya Maraş al tabii ya.
I asked this ice cream guy, how was life before the dam? He said, well, we lost our house and our garden. So I said, well, what was in the garden? We had plums, apricots and black roses. I said, well, can't you plant them up here? We have no land up here. Where should we plant them, in the road?
Arazi gitti, arazi.
Ha, kaybettiniz arazini.
Tabii araziyi kaybettik.
And then when I paid him with some small change, he said, where did you get this gypsy money from?
Yeter değil mi?
Ya bu çingene parası, bunu nereden topladın sen ya?
Çingene parası. Teşekkür ediyorum ya. We've been in Gaziantep for a few days now, and one thing we've noticed is you can eat out at all these lovely locantas, but none of them serve alcohol. If you want alcohol, you have to go to a little corner shop or eat in the restaurant of your hotel.
You'll find a lot of the lovely food in the old town area. It's quite spicy traditional meat kebabs, which is served with mezes, fresh salad and bulgur, but not rice.
You can't beat eating Antep salatası in Antep, or Gaziantep. So we've realised why we're in Gaziantep that Most of the food is the same in every locanta. Do you know, in a city of nearly 2 million people, I can't believe there's not a Chinese restaurant or an Indian restaurant, and there's probably not an Italian restaurant either.
So we decided to try out the metro system and investigate the restaurants in another part of the city.
Put it on. Has it gone green? No, it's not working. Ah, it's worked, okay. You can get off anywhere and change, and when you come out, you've only paid 2.5 lira. Tamam.
So en route, we thought we'd go to the botanical gardens.
So this is the botanical gardens, which shuts at 6 o'clock.
Oh well, next time.
Going to a restaurant tonight called Boğazköy, which is, we found it on TripAdvisor. It's one of the high-rated ones, and it's in a place called Şahin Bey, which is a different district of Gaziantep, nowhere near the castle. It's actually 5 miles away from the castle, and this area is full of young people because of the university, and lots of people speak English here as well because of that. The young people want to learn their English.
We're at this restaurant where we've been given a menu on a tablet, which is great. I'm already looking at the desserts. And they do no alcohol beer.
Hey.
The food here was so good. We went back the next night.
So I had a pizza, and Trudie had salmon on noodles, which is eaten already, so I can't film it. But my pizza, strangely enough, with these walnuts, it's got tomatoes, peppers, olives, and pineapple in it. Absolutely amazing.
On their menu they had mixed cuisines from all over the world and their own dishes. And their signature dessert, which is made from different nuts, is amazing.
Wow. This has got to be one of the nicest desserts I've had. It's absolutely delicious. I can honestly say that I absolutely love this city, and I'm sure we'll be back.
Unfortunately, in a few days you can't see everything in a city, but we'll definitely be back to this city. It's really made an impression on us. So we're going up on the Park A road now, all the way up to Nemrut. We're not quite sure how close we get to the top, but apparently this is the highest mountain in this region of the Taurus Mountains, and it's 7,000 feet. It's beautiful scenery, stunning. And make sure you've got the right gear as well. It's cold up here, and we thought we were going to have to walk from where you pay for your ticket all the way up the mountain, which we put our boots and everything on. But actually there's a shuttle bus.
And it's raining.
Great.
When you arrive here, there's a chance for you to use the loo, get a drink, and you pay extra to get a shuttle bus up to the peak.
We found out that from where the shuttle bus takes you to, it still takes you 20 minutes to walk up a steep hill to the stone heads.
This shuttle bus has now become our shelter as it's heavily raining outside.
So here we are on Nemrut Mountain, waiting to go up to see those lovely famous heads, but unfortunately it's pouring with rain. Now we're lucky because we come in a private car, we can hang on and wait, see if the rain passes.
course, it's the end of October now, so you probably don't get this problem in the summertime.
I feel like I'm on the Titanic.
So we've just got back to our hotel in Adıyaman, and unfortunately we never got to Nemrut, so we're going to go tomorrow morning instead.
So it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and we've got up early to get the sunrise. We've got a 2-hour journey now to get to Nemrut. I was inspired to see the courage of a lady with disabilities wanting to see these ruins.
These statues were put here as monuments to a king about 2,000 years ago. He was buried somewhere underneath the ground here, and they're still looking for his tomb. So it's a bit like Tutankhamun, but they've never found his tomb. And who knows what treasures there might be below. Bir de ağırlık kaç ton var tanesi? Nasıl buraya getirmişler ya? So there was a woman, apparently Teresa Gowell, who did an awful lot of excavation work here in the 1950s, and she became a bit of a local celebrity as well. It's because of her that this has become so famous, I think. And actually the mountain in the background is man-made. So, you know, there's thousands and thousands of tons of rock have been placed up there to cause to make the mountain peak, if you like. You know, I know it's not as big as a pyramid, but it's quite significant.
Mezar daha bu seviyenin daha altında. Yani daha derinde.
O zaman mezar yapmışlar.
Evet.
Ondan sonra üstünden çakıl atmışlar. Ama çok çakıl ya var.
Daha bu 5 metre düşmüş hali.
Öyle mi?
Tabii 5 metre daha yüksek.
Daha yüksekti.
Daha yüksekteymiş.
And on the other side of the mountain, which would be the sunset side, there's a similar set of statues. Obviously we didn't get to see the sunrise because of the weather. In the summer, when the weather is fine, the sunset and the sunrise are stunning.
And it's been quite a trek to get up here, but it is worth it. It's absolutely stunning. In fact, it's and to see some people climbing up here that are crippled, it's quite humbling. So we made it to Nemrut Dağ in the end. Now we got to go and have a look at this very old bridge.
When you see this bridge for the first time, you could easily mistake it for a recently built bridge. And to think it's nearly 2,000 years old, it just shows the quality of the original build. There's an interesting story attached to this bridge. The Emperor Severus had 2 sons, and one of the sons had his brother murdered. For more information, click on the link below in my description. By the way, the Kangal Anatolian sheepdogs don't charge for the guided tour. Adıyaman, a busy, fast-growing city, has a lot to offer. Unfortunately, the weather was against us and we missed out on the local ruins of Pera and seeing the castle. Next time. So we're at the Hilton Hotel in Adiyaman, and actually we looked at lots of hotels in the area, and although this is like an hour and 3/4 drive away from Nemrut, it was the best quality hotel for the price, and we actually managed to book this for £38 a night for a Hilton hotel. It's a Hilton Garden Inn actually, but we thought that was great value, and that included breakfast. So we're here for 3 nights, and the dinner is amazing too. Around the Mardin and Midyat area, there's a few other very interesting places.
Look at the carving on this. That's amazing. We're on the road and we saw this sign to the monastery, and there was lots of coaches going up there as well, so we thought, oh, well, that looks interesting. So here we are. And now we're going to look it up on the internet to see where exactly this monastery is and what it's called.
Nice ice cream.
Oh God, yeah, the ice cream's nice. And the tea. So here we are in the magnificent Deru Safaran Monastery. The monastery is from the 16th century, I think. But wow, what a building. Make sure you don't miss this, because we almost walked out without coming in here, and this for me is the most impressive part of the building. Oh, this is romantic, isn't it?
It's like Romeo. Romeo. Oh, Romeo.
You silly sod.
It's very hot indeed. Think ice cream. Think cake.
And one of the roads we travelled on actually went right next to the Syrian border. And it was reassuring to see the extent of the border and how safe it really is.
Most of these caves were apparently dug out in the 6th century. The site is actually massive. Most people only see this part of the site, but it's a huge site. It would really take you a day to have a good look round, and you'd need boots on.
The religion of these Syriac Orthodox monasteries is one of the first established Christian religions, built like forts, and for good reason. They have been persecuted for centuries. Whether you're religious or not, in this space you can't help feeling a sense of peace, calm and serenity.
I think this is the most impressive place we've been to.
While we were there, some people arrived from Germany that had specifically made a pilgrimage so that they could pray and sing at this church. For me and Trudie, it was the icing on the cake.
Since we toured Southeast Türkiye, we have been to so many other interesting places here. So please have a look at our channel and consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.